Space, the final frontier. It has always beckoned humanity, filled us with wonder. But now space is no longer just a place of dreams. It has become a battlefield, an arena where nations vie for dominance, the ultimate high ground. For decades, the Cold War played out beneath the heavens. Nuclear arsenals cast long shadows. But the true future of conflict lies not on Earth, but above it. In the vast expanse of space, a new kind of war is brewing. This is not science fiction. It's a reality we must confront. The weapons are real, the stakes are higher than ever, and the consequences of inaction could be catastrophic. We must act now to ensure that space remains a place of peace, not a theater of war. Satellites, they orbit silently above us, unseen sentinels in the sky, but their importance cannot be overstated. They are the backbone of modern civilization. Communication, navigation, surveillance, all depend on these technological marvels. Militaries around the world rely heavily on satellites. They provide critical intelligence, guiding precision strikes and troop movements. Without them, modern warfare would be impossible, but this reliance on satellites also creates vulnerability. An enemy that can disable or destroy these assets could cripple a nation's defenses. And in recent years, several countries have been developing weapons specifically designed to do just that. These anti-satellite weapons, or ASATs, pose a grave threat to global security. They have the potential to spark a conflict that could quickly escalate out of control. The world must come together to address this growing danger before it's too late. Among the many satellites orbiting Earth, one stands out for its sinister purpose. Kosmos-2543, a Russian satellite shrouded in secrecy, has been dubbed the satellite killer, and for good reason. Launched in 2019, Kosmos-2543 immediately raised red flags within the intelligence community. Its unusual maneuvers and capabilities suggested a more aggressive mission than its official designation as an inspector satellite. Experts believe that Kosmos-2543 is capable of deploying a kinetic kill vehicle. This weapon, essentially a high-speed projectile, could be used to destroy other satellites in orbit. The implications are chilling. The development and deployment of such a weapon represent a dangerous escalation in the militarization of space. It undermines international norms and threatens the stability of the entire space environment. In January 2020, the world got a glimpse of Kosmos-2543's capabilities. The Russian satellite began maneuvering close to a US spy satellite, USA-245. For weeks, Kosmos-2543 shadowed its target, mimicking its movements with eerie precision. The US government expressed serious concerns, calling the Russian satellite's behavior unusual and disturbing. While Kosmos-2543 did not attack USA-245, the incident served as a stark warning. It demonstrated Russia's willingness to use its anti-satellite technology in a provocative manner. The incident also highlighted the vulnerability of US space assets. Despite its technological superiority, the US is not immune to attack. The age of space warfare is upon us. Section 5, the stakes are world held hostage. The development and deployment of anti-satellite weapons have profound implications for the entire world. The consequences of their use extend far beyond the battlefield. A single anti-satellite weapon could cripple global communications, disrupt financial transactions, and disable navigation systems. The economic and social chaos would be unimaginable, but the stakes go even higher. The destruction of a single satellite could trigger a chain reaction, creating a cascade of debris that could render entire orbits unusable for generations. This catastrophic scenario, known as the Kessler Syndrome, could effectively trap humanity on Earth, cutting us off from the cosmos. Section 6, the Kessler Syndrome, a cascade of destruction. Imagine a future where space is no longer accessible. A future where the very skies above us are filled with a chaotic swarm of debris, making space travel a perilous endeavor, where the debris field surrounding Earth is so dense that launching a satellite, let alone a manned mission, becomes impossible. The once clear pathways to the stars are now blocked by a minefield of human-made fragments. This is the nightmare scenario known as the Kessler Syndrome, a situation where the very act of venturing into space could trigger a cascade of destruction, endangering not just missions, but the very infrastructure we rely on. First proposed by NASA scientist Donald J. Kessler in 1978, the Kessler Syndrome describes a runaway chain reaction of collisions in orbit. Kessler's theory warned of a future where space becomes a hazardous zone filled with debris that perpetuates its own creation. As more and more objects collide, they create an ever-expanding cloud of debris. Each collision generates thousands of new fragments, each one a potential threat to other objects in orbit. This debris, traveling at thousands of miles per hour, poses a significant threat to operational satellites. The speed at which these fragments move means that even the smallest piece can cause immense damage. Even a small piece of debris can cause catastrophic damage, potentially triggering further collisions and exacerbating the problem. A single collision can set off a chain reaction, leading to an exponential increase in debris. The Kessler Syndrome is a self-perpetuating cycle. Each new piece of debris increases the likelihood of further collisions, which in turn creates more debris. As the debris field grows denser, the risk of collisions increases, leading to more debris and so on. This vicious cycle continues, making space an increasingly dangerous place. Eventually, a tipping point is reached where certain orbits become completely unusable. The once navigable routes through space are now impassable, filled with a deadly cloud of debris that threatens any mission daring to venture through. Section 7. The world reacts, a call for peace in space. The growing threat of anti-satellite weapons and the spectre of the Kessler Syndrome have not gone unnoticed. The Kessler Syndrome, a scenario where the density of objects in low Earth orbit is high enough that collisions between objects could cause a cascade, increasing the likelihood of further collisions, is a particularly alarming prospect. This could render space activities and the use of satellites in specific orbits practically impossible for generations. Around the world, governments, organizations, and individuals are sounding the alarm. They are increasingly aware that the consequences of inaction could be dire, not just for space exploration, but for the many services on Earth that rely on satellites, such as communication, weather forecasting, and navigation. The United Nations has called for a ban on space-based weapons, recognizing the inherent dangers they pose to all nations. The UN's stance is clear. The weaponization of space could lead to an arms race in space, which would be detrimental to global security and stability. However, progress on a binding treaty has been slow, hampered by geopolitical tensions and a lack of consensus among major powers. The major spacefaring nations have their own strategic interests and security concerns, making it difficult to reach a common ground. Despite these challenges, there is a growing movement to prevent the weaponization of space. Advocacy groups, non-governmental organizations, and concerned citizens are coming together to push for international agreements that would ensure space remains a domain for peaceful activities. Scientists, engineers, and astronauts are using their platforms to raise awareness about the issue and advocate for peaceful solutions. They are highlighting the potential benefits of international cooperation in space, such as joint missions and shared research, which could lead to significant advancements in science and technology. Public pressure is also mounting. Social media campaigns, public demonstrations, and petitions are becoming more common as people demand action from their leaders. People around the world are beginning to understand the stakes involved and are demanding that their leaders take action to protect space for future generations. The message is clear: space should be a realm of peace and cooperation, not conflict and competition. The future of space exploration and the well-being of our planet depend on the decisions we make today. Section 8. The future of warfare, a new arms race. Despite the inherent risks and the numerous calls for restraint from the international community, the militarization of space continues unabated. The vast expanse above our heads is becoming the next frontier for conflict. Nations are pouring billions of dollars into developing new and more sophisticated space weapons. These investments are not just in defensive technologies, but also in offensive capabilities that could potentially disable or destroy satellites. This new arms race is driven by a number of factors, including national security concerns, technological advancements, and geopolitical rivalry. The desire to maintain a strategic edge over potential adversaries is pushing countries to innovate at a rapid pace. As more countries develop space capabilities, the temptation to weaponize them grows stronger. The line between civilian and military applications of space technology is becoming increasingly blurred. The consequences of this trend are deeply troubling. Space debris from destroyed satellites could create a cascade effect, endangering all space operations. An arms race in space would be incredibly destabilizing, increasing the risk of miscalculation and escalation. A single misstep could lead to a conflict that extends beyond the bounds of Earth. It would also divert resources away from other pressing global challenges such as climate change and poverty. The funds and intellectual capital being funneled into space weaponry could be better spent addressing these urgent issues. The world must find a way to break this dangerous cycle. Diplomatic efforts and international treaties are essential to prevent the weaponization of space and to promote its peaceful use. We need a new framework for international cooperation in space, one that prioritizes peaceful exploration and the sustainable use of this precious resource. By working together, we can ensure that space remains a domain for scientific discovery and human advancement rather than a new battleground. Section 9. Conclusion. Our shared destiny in the cosmos. The future of space is uncertain. Will it be a realm of peace and cooperation where nations work together to unlock the mysteries of the universe, or will it become another battleground where conflicts on Earth spill over into the heavens? The answer lies in our hands. We have the power to choose our own destiny. We can choose to weaponize space, leading to a future of fear and destruction, or we can choose to protect it, ensuring that it remains a source of wonder and inspiration for generations to come. The choice is ours. Let us choose wisely. The future of humanity, and indeed the future of life itself, may depend on it.